the opening day of Season 3. I'm Rivington Bisson III, and joining me is David Freak Turley, and we're here broadcasting to you live from Los Angeles. Ladies and gentlemen, today is the day, the official start of the League of Legends Championship Series. This is a groundbreaking moment in league history as 8 North American teams take their first steps on the way to the Summoners Cup.
And each week, 16 pro teams across North America and Europe will fight for their spot in the playoffs. The stakes are high because these teams are battling for the chance to represent their region and get their shot at immortality in the World Championships later this year.
That's where these teams will face the best League of Legends players from the rest of the globe. They'll go head-to-head with pros from Southeast Asia, Taiwan, China, and Korea, and the competition will be fiercer than ever, since every team will be looking to claim the title of global champion. But before we get into our first match, let's take a quick look at the teams who made it here today.
Well, first off is Team Solo Mid. Then up is Counter Logic Gaming, Team Dignitas, Vulcan Command, formerly known as Team Fear, Good Game University, Curse, Complexity, formerly known as the Brunch Club, and of course, Team Marn.
And now these teams are going to have to prove themselves in every match and every game as they face each other throughout Season 3.
So you've heard the names, you know what's on the line. Here's what you need to know about each North American team.
First up, it's going to be Team Solo Mid, probably the best performing North American team from 2012. The man to watch here is going to be Reginald. With their last podium finish being at the North American Regionals, these guys have had somewhat of a lackluster performance, and with Reginald coining that aggressive mid play, he'll be the one to start the fireworks.
Now next up is Team Dignitas. Now they got a second place finish at last year's North American Regionals, and the guy to watch really here is Kiwi Kid, because they lost, and they got Crumbs as well, of course. So right. Crumbs took place he took the jungle over from I Will Dominate, who got dropped from the roster, unfortunately. And then because he moved down from the top lane, Kiwi Kid's replacing him up there, so a bit of a new roster for these guys. There
it is. Next is the most established team in League of Legends, Counter Logic Gaming. Finishing third in last year's North American Regionals, Afro Moon now on support with this revamped roster. Link in the middle as well. Doublelift has said good things from interviews. We'll have to see if he's right.
Now next up, we got Vulcan Command. You knew them as Team Fear during the live qualifier just last month. They had an amazing performance, 4-0ing the competition to get here. And the guy to watch here really is Zuna. He played for them as a top laner at IPL 5. He played for CLG Black as a jungler. Now he's on AD carry, and he's looking better than ever. This is the guy who's going to make the big plays.
Formerly known as Team Dynamic, it's Good Game University, who had a strong showing in the qualifier. The guy to watch here is the jungle, Nintendude X, released from the team, brought back from the team, now still one of the big playmakers. Keep an eye on him.
Now finally, not finally I should say, but next up is Curse. They had the qualifier and they did amazingly. They were probably the most dominating team throughout that qualifier. 4-0 as well, and they are just absolutely amazing and led really here, I think, by Voyboy, who's arguably the best top laner in North America. The guy 1v3s and wins regularly.
Next up, we have a team previously known as the Brunch Club. These guys had a great showing in the qualifier, and with a new sponsorship right out of the gate, they're known as Team Complexity. Louder Mortis is a great core member of this team as they made it one of the best junglers in North America. He is going to be starting the initiations and calling the shots for his team. An aggressive, gank-focused jungler is something you need here in Season 3.
And finally, with a bit of brotherly love, last but not least, Team Marn. Huge underdogs throughout their entire career, actually. Just squeaking through, the only team to make it through the online ranked team qualifier. And they're really led on the back of Mega Zero here, who was just absolutely dominant throughout the qualifier here. And I think a lot of their wins are going to key off of him.
So now that you know the teams that are going to be hitting up, let's hit the Rift. Let's take a look at who will be facing off on our first day of competition. First up, it's last year's top North American teams. Team Solo Mid going up against their arch rivals, Counter Logic Gaming. Nothing like a good old-fashioned grudge match to start off the day here.
It's going to be awesome. And right after that, we have Skara and the men of Dignitas who are going to battle out against Curse, who are on quite a hot streak, honestly, after their dominating performance in the qualifiers. Third up in the day, CLG is getting back into action for their first match against Good Game University. We'll see if the newcomers at GGU have what it takes to handle the veterans of CLG.
That we will. And finally, Team Solo Mid returns for one more game when they go up against Vulcan Command. Vulcan looked tough the last time we saw them, but facing a fired-up Team Solo Mid, it's a scary proposition right there. Guys, we've seen lots of different strategies in the North American qualifier, but here are some trends that we've seen recently with the new changes to Season 3. Being scared to invade here is something we've definitely had a pleasure to see.
Exactly. So when you look back at the North American Regionals regionals a little bit, and you look back really at the live qualifiers here, it was very do or die. A best of 3 could kick you out of the entire tournament here. And so guys were very, very afraid to make big moves. But here we've got clear underdogs, clear favorites. It's a best of 1. These guys are going to come through kind of with guns blazing and arms swinging. They're going to be doing a lot more risky things here.
And something else we just made point to, as I said, Season 3 items, they've also completely increased champion pools and the possibility of the champion play.
Exactly. Last season, we would have said AP mid, Reginald, Link. These guys are
Not
AP
anymore.
mids. Not anymore. AD mids are really, really common. I mean, Lee Sin was kind of the first to show up, but now you've got guys like Jace and Kha'Zix, and you're going to see these champion pools grow and grow and grow throughout the season.
You know, Freak, this is the first time we've really seen just one-on-one games. These teams don't have a best or a set to really pull out the stomps in a second game, so we may see the crazy strats right off the bat.
Yeah, and that's going to come through lane swaps a lot as well. Now, again, you look at Season 1, and it was 1-1 and 2, 1-1 and 2, AD support bottom, AP mid, fighter up top, and we've seen that break apart more and more overall. We have lane swaps here. We've got 2 members mid to shut down someone like Kassadin. 2 will go top, 1 goes bottom because Olaf's a good 1v2, and we've seen these lanes get broken apart. We've seen roam supports sitting in the jungle for 4 minutes just to steal buffs away.
Yeah.
The lanes, they're not normal anymore. It's all going to be all over the place.
All right, guys. Now that you've heard our thoughts, we want to hear from you. Log on to Twitter and tell us what strategies you expect to see this season.
We're at LOL Esports. Use the hashtag LCS and tell us what your thoughts are in 140 characters or less. We'll be responding to your tweets live on air later in the broadcast.
All right, guys. The first match of Season 3 LCS begins right after this short break. When we come back, it's time to settle a score. Team Solo Mid versus Counterlogic Gaming. Stick around.
TSM CLG, oh my god.
Welcome back to day 1 of the League of Legends Championship Series. If you're just joining us, we're about to see longtime rivals Team Solo Mid take on Counterlogic Gaming.
And CLG right off the bat here is with really a new roster. If you haven't seen them since the end of Season 2, Chaucer's moved to the jungle. They've actually picked up a new support, Aframu, formerly the AD carry from Fear, and they've got Link now in the mid lane replacing Big Fat LP, and I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like for them.
It's going to be different. TSM, many are wondering what they're going to be doing as well. This is a whole just book of empty pages that need to be scribbled on right now, and these teams are about to write some amazing stories for us as we come into these games. So on the blue team, it is going to be Team Solo Mid. As you know them, it is Dyrus in the top lane, the odd one in the jungle, Reginald in mid, KX at AD, and Xpecial behind him on support.
And of course, for Counterlogic Gaming on the red team, they've got that new lineup we just mentioned. The top lane, Hotshot GG, he's back to his top lane glory. Chowster taking over the jungle. Link up in the mid lane, double lift on AD carry. There's Chowster on your screen right there. And Aframu bringing up support.
So, Freak, when we go into these matches, each week, each match, we're going to have a featured matchup. And our featured matchup of the day comes from the mid lane with TSM's Reginald versus CLG's Link. And I think this works out perfectly. We kind of spoke back and forth. Reginald, the captain of the team, very aggressive on the team, kind of goes against the exact opposite of much of an unknown.
Exactly. So Reginald, he's just the big playmaker, right? He's that aggressive play style guy. He's the shot caller for his team. He tends to actually play initiators more often than not. You look at him on guys, he'll play like guys like Ari or Morgana who just will lead the charge there.
Right.
Now, Link is not a guy we know quite as much about. I mean, all these teams really have been practicing fairly in secret. But actually talking with Doublelift before the show on yesterday, actually, he said that Link is actually very consistent, very, very consistent, a strong player. Obviously good enough that they actually replaced Big Fat LP with him. But as far sort of the read I could get, they're not that same like crazy all-out like aggro player as Reginald.
Right. Well, Reginald, we haven't seen these guys, as we said, since the North American Regionals really putting on a really strong show. So, as we said, it's kind of up to him to start leading that for Team Solo Mid. And they are a team that will be in your face right in the beginning of the game. And they are going to try to bring that kind of play to the table.
Yeah, and that's what I like from Team Solo Mid. They are always a very entertaining team to watch because they go big or they go home. Whether they win or lose, they always grab a lot of kills. When you look at even the games they lost, like they would put on really, really good numbers. They had really great play, and they're always aggressive.
All right, guys. So these guys almost ready to get in. I believe Champion Select is about to start. We were saying a little bit about Link as well. Doublelift said his play is consistent. He's not one to make huge impact plays, but he is somebody to rely on in lane, and that's exactly what you need if you can't get impact plays out of him. You still need the consistency.
Yep. So here we go, guys. We're going to see what these people are really looking to pick or ban. Now, as a reference to what patch we're on, it's actually live -1, so the nerfs to Olaf, Warmogs, Nunu, those are actually not live right now, so you're seeing that Nunu ban right away, and look at that. Team Solo Mid, they know Hotshot's back in the top lane, the early Needly ban here. These are actually some pretty... These are expected bans here. I mean, Odd One is famous for Maokai, Dyrus. Just giving Olaf on first pick is always a scary proposition. These are... Right now, they're looking like safe bans where they know each other pretty well, and they're like, yeah, these are the things we remove.
It's like being back in Season 2 when these guys played each other. Like, when have you seen these bans coming out? We didn't see that much Maokai except for Loud and Mortis. There's a LeBlanc going out, and that was Reginald way back in the day, I think in one of the Hanover competitions or CBIT competition. He's like, I am Kiev. I am Kiev. He's like, I have a trick up my sleeve, but maybe they've seen it recently as well.
And the other thing on top of that, too, is Xpecial can play everything. He was one of the first Elise players. Like, he would just, top lane and solo queue and crush people. And we've seen support LeBlanc in Korea. It was called LeBlurgot. It was LeBlanc Urgot. And that lane dumps on people straight up. Like, it is a good lane because the thing with LeBlanc, actually, we'll just kind of move on from here, though. The first pick, Xin Zhao, I like a heck of a lot, though.
It is coming out, and it may even look like it's for Dyrus himself, which Dyrus, playing a little bit of Kha'Zix, a little bit of Jace, likes the AD heavy caster top. So we'll have to see what he chooses for that. Tarek and Lee Sin on the other side for Chowster in the jungle.
That's actually really, really good. Chowster is really sort of referred to as possibly the best Lee Sin in North America. I think his most famous jungler is Lee Sin, and TSM would know that, and they actually are respecting that quite a lot. I am, however, surprised by the early Tarek. He's not one of the supports we normally saw really being contended for, so I'm interested to see how that works for them.
I know a lot of times back in Season 2, it was muttered that in the roam strat, Tarek was the one to be used if your jungler was going to be roaming early. So they may try to pull that out. Still, like we said, all the stops are going to be pulled out here in Season 3. Kale now to be hovered over as the odd one. Probably going to select a jungler. I mean, they can give something here, but they don't have to give anything away by selecting that jungler.
So they've hovered over and locked in Elise. Now this is interesting because with Kale, Xin Zhao, if it is going to be Kale with 1 second left, Kale, Xin Zhao, and Elise, they can literally all three top lane, jungle, or mid. And I have seen actually support Elise out of China as well. So this is actually a fairly vague lineup. I expect, holy crap, Urgot and Syndra have already been locked in. CLG has got a strategy ready.
I absolutely love these teams. Compositions we really haven't seen synergize before, but we're about to see that now. You can just imagine being swapped in and fully stunned into that party of people with Lee Sin crushing your face, and there is so much burst damage to be had there once you're swapped around.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, this team is super I'm sorry, I'm just taken aback by the fact that in our first game of LCS, we have a LeBlanc ban and an insta-lock Syndra. Like,
awesome.
This is great. I love this right now.
Hey, we said we don't know Link that much, so
we don't.
let's find out.
Dude plays some Syndra,
Let's
apparently.
find out.
And I do like this quite a lot there. So you've got that Urgot Taric lane. We saw Marn run that throughout the LCS live qualifiers in North America. We actually saw
full effect.
Yeah, and we saw a Nexus run it at IEM Brazil as well, the Taric Urgot lane. So that's actually, it really is no stranger to competitive play, but certainly a very strong one. And in talking with Doublelift, he said that he and Afremu actually make a lot of plays. In general, they're just aggressive and they make things happen. Urgot Taric is a lane that can make things happen.
Yeah, it's a lane that also says you're not going to make anything happen. You don't want to go all in on these guys with levels 1, 2, or 3. It's just going to be bad news. So that's a poke game for them, and sustain for just Taric to sit back and heal Urgot as he fires off.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really good. Now, the last pick here is going to be almost definitely a top laner for Counter Logic Gaming. Now, the read on Solo Mid's lineup is probably Elise top Xin Zhao in the jungle, Kayle up in mid, and of course that Ezreal Lulu lane, which we've seen so very much. And they've grabbed Malphite here in the top lane. So CLG has really, really, really good fight initiation, and whomever they catch can get bursted out really hard. The difficulty, though, is Team Solo Mid's got Kayle in that lineup, and Lulu as well, really. And these are two champions who are very, very good at saving individual champions and keeping them from falling over. So, you know, TSM has very good initiation as well. That first pick, Xin Zhao, really opened a lot of doors for them. Both these teams are good at starting fights. Both teams have good burst. Both teams have pretty good persistent damage output as well. They're, in a way, strangely similar.
I like the way that they came in here, too, in their selections. You can kind of see that these guys did what they came to do. It's not like, oh, we need to start countering something. These selections were premeditated completely.
Yeah, nothing looks like a huge counter pick overall. CLG really saw those top lane choices. And the thing is, Malphite, I wouldn't have considered like a counter lane to Elise necessarily.
For sure.
However, that actual passive shield is going to regrow. And if he does it right, he can keep blocking Elise poke. So in retrospect, actually, I can totally see Malphite being a bit of a counter pick against Elise. Now, both these top laners are running teleport. I know in Europe we saw a heck of a lot of teleport mid. I don't believe we have that on either guy here. We have teleport top lane, which is sort of the more North American thing. I take it back, actually. Yes, Link has teleport in mid. Hotshot has teleport top. And then Redrill just with standard ignite mid. So we've got 3 teleports in this game. CLG is going to be all over the map.
Yeah.
And they're just going to look for kills. I mean, their team is so good at catching people out. Taric, Malphite, Syndra, Urgot. They're going to find a guy, and he's going to get evaporated.
Freak, in that you were talking about the Elise and the Malphite matchup. With that, Malphite not usually needing as much CS to get to his, formidable state as a tank later in the game. Can Elise go through the same thing, or does she need to get a little more fed?
Elise actually needs to stay in melee range to do her job very well, and so she's kind of a champion who really must get farm, because she to do any meaningful damage must go into melee range, must take some hits, and has to chase someone down and put out enough damage to hurt them. Now, for Malphite, he can just die and at least still do part of his job. He can ult in, land the ground slam, slow someone, and at the very worst, he'll do half of his job, but getting a second ground slam out, chasing someone out, he's got good persistent damage output, and again, that ground slam is really, really key to shutting down an Ezreal. So he's someone who, is better off than Elise at 0 gold, but still wants to get some farm.
Well, I'll have to see. So Reginald going Kayle in middle, and Link on Syndra. Not super AP heavy on both sides. How would the blue invade affect either?
It'll be interesting. So Syndra certainly has some nice tricks for dealing with brush. I don't believe her Q actually reveals Fog of War, but at the very least it is a skill shot, and that way she can sort of poke people out. If they do see someone in the brush, if they can sort of invade a little bit, they have good tools there, good long-range tools. Or if they get into a fight, Link can always learn Scatter the Weak, that E, and just knock back and disengage. So a lot of tools there.
All right, so it looks like we are going to be getting back into this one as the first match of Season 3. Opening day begins now. Team Solo Mid versus Counter Logic Gaming head-to-head here. It's the first time we're really going to see Counter Logic with this really fresh team that they're coming in here with. Afremu on support. Doublelift have been singing praise about that. Says Link is a consistent mid, but can he start to make the impact plays? It's going to be a big factor here coming into Season 3. Freak, they make their way out of the base, and the game is on.
So, yeah, you're right. Link is going to be really on an impact champion here. Their damage output is not super massive. Pretty much it's going to be a lot on Link. Reginald about to get spotted a little bit. Challenger checks a brush. Looks like they're pretty much safe here. CLG, though, off the bat, right? We talked about that. You know, in the qualifiers, the regionals, people were a little bit scared to invade. Not here. Right off the bat, new picks and some new strategies.
And it's really that power of numbers invade. It's the, what are you going to do about it anyways if you found us? And although this is only going to put that on the back drawer of TSM's mind here, it's still going to play on them. Odd1's going to have to remember that he is now visible in the jungle for about 75% of the time in that bottom half.
And that's a really good thing for CLG. Now, the fun thing about them, though, is unless TSM did a really good job of counting wards, they're actually not sure which camps are revealed and which ones are just going to be kind of blind. So heavy ward coverage from CLG. And the thing is, again, they're running 2 teleports. They can use these wards to catch people in the jungle. So out of nowhere, Link and Hotshot can be like, surprise, Odd1, and kill him in the face.
That level 2 could be pretty crazy as they go for the red buff streak.
And right now, they're looking at blue is the thing. They are waiting right there. The problem is TSM has a ward themselves. It looks like TSM's doing a lane swap, though. They're sending AD support top.
They are going to be doing the lane swap, and they're also keeping them here to, looks like, give a little bit of trouble towards the blue buff as they try to go in for it. We have seen Hotshot and Chaucer return to the jungle so they can start that.
Link just W'd that golem right across the wall. They used the Explorer 60-second duration ward, and look at that. There's no way they can jack this golem. That's a beautiful steal.
Very nice job pulling it over the wall. They take it for themselves and Freak. I guess we get to see what happens if they get denied that blue buff. Now this is going to Urgot in the top lane, and they have called the swap back.
Okay, this is going to be very interesting. So Urgot is someone we actually saw able to 1v2 with just a blue buff. We saw that actually at IEM Kiev from the old Moscow 5 lineup. Right now, it looks like Afremu is going to camp with him for a while, but you could see that turn around. He could start roaming at pretty much any point in this game.
We'll have to see what the Odd1 has been doing to counteract any effects like this throughout the Season 3. He will now find it and have to clear those camps. The bottom lane, as we said, it's going to be Hotshot versus Dyrus, that Malphite on Elise. How's this matchup going to play out right in the beginning?
Well, right off the bat, we're seeing basically both have point-and-click damaging sort of ranged abilities, and so they both have the opportunity to harass or farm. Now, when you look at Hotshot right now, he's sitting very far back, he's shooting out long-range Qs, and just last hitting with them, he grabbed the early flask as well, so he's looking very, a lot of potions early on, so he's looking very defensive here.
And we're looking now into the mid lane. Haven't seen too much Syndra play onto that Kayle. Kayle's been used quite a bit lately, however.
Yeah, so Kayle is really popular. She's very strong, scales quite well, and has a lot of opportunities for builds. We used to see AD carry Kayle from Dyrus from Team Solo Mid. Most recently in Korea, actually, it was Leandry's and Nashor's Tooth, the sort of attack speed carry, and then we've seen every once in a while actually straight up AP Kayle with a death cap. So we'll see which kind of build she goes for here.
And then up to that top lane, Counter Logic Gaming doing a beautiful job completely pushing out this wave, staying just a level ahead of TSM the whole time.
And there they go. They're pushing right onto this turret. A lot of pressure for them. Looks like there's no jungler coming over, but the wards do see Reginald coming for a counter gank, so Chaucer's coming over as well.
And there it is. It's going to be about 4 minutes. Chaucer now happily through his jungle double buff
Chaos
on
is so
him.
close to dead right now.
He's not going to be able to fight in this. They're timing it perfectly. A nice hit on the Q. Forces Reginald to flash over. And they are just putting on the pressure right now. TSM is kind of on the back heel.
That was a very good set of plays here by CLG. That blue buff Urgot just completely crushing that poor Ezreal in lane. And the thing is, Lulu does not have many tools to stop you from dying to Urgot.
There it is. They're going for it. The exhaust goes down on Explosion. The Dazzle was there, and the final hits will be for Double Lift. First blood for CLG.
That was a beautiful play right there, and they're just going right for this turret now. Very nice setup. Chaucer not involved in the gank himself, but put a shield down and is help pushing this turret. Odd1's here by the turret. Honestly, he'll survive a 1v3 here, so he's going to keep that turret alive.
Yeah, especially with getting hurt in the jungle. He's trying to bolster himself back up here. He's going to soak up the experience as Chaos most likely is going to take that gold. And we already have a backing top lane. It's going to just be wards. The Madrid's coming out for Lee Sin. His jungle becomes faster for himself, and the tier quickly goes to Urgot.
Okay, so an amazing early start here for Double Lift. Tear of the Goddess plus a Doran's Blade is going to make him incredibly powerful here. Actually spamming Q in the base.
Walking the lane, that's
yeah,
awesome.
He's walking the lane, spamming Q while running just to charge that up a little bit faster. And I want to point out actually the builds for this. What's now the bottom lane here, Hotshot GG versus Dyrus. So Hotshot's been back once and picked up a Null Magic Mantle, but he is still very far behind Dyrus. So we saw the flashy first blood, and that's helping CLG here, but realize that Dyrus is almost at double Hotshot CS right here.
Dyrus doing very well. Hotshot mitigating correctly, though. You don't want to build health against that percentage damage. You're just going to kind of stack magic resistance as much as you can for as much as Dyrus is letting you get. And you can see the harass there, continuously breaking the shield and always doing a bit of damage. And there's almost no trade back for him.
No, not at all. He doesn't have really the mana or health to do it. And with Dyrus opening with a flask early on, it's allowed him to really spam very successfully here. And you can see Hotshot has just been staying back and using his mana to last hit because he can't melee them. He'll take too much damage.
More aggression being put on the mid lane as Reginald forced to back here. Looks like he will be grabbing a Haunting Guise first if he decides to finish that build on his next back. But the aggression here is Counter Logic Gaming showing Chowster, but all the lanes are actually pushing.
They're putting a lot of damage onto Special up at the top lane here. You could they drop him to a third as long as Dazzle lands, and that's how they're playing it actually. Is Doublelift is waiting. As soon as Aphromoo lands Dazzle, he gets the very easy Noxian Corrosive Charge, and they go in from there. Here comes Chowster for a gank though, but it does not look warded.
Nope, they have it pinged out in the spot that it is warded. They do hit him with the Acid Hunter. Will the Q land Chowster over the wall from the Fog of War? But there just will not be enough room before the turret. Special hooks are on the outside. They get out with a little bit of damage, but that has not been an upper hand in that lane for Team Solo Mid yet.
No, this has been really, really rough for them. So their victory right now is going to have to come from Elise, who's doing an impeccable job of farming to be sure, but that the duo lane right here is going all Doublelift's way. Now, I want to point it back to the mid lane, though, because the Syndra lane is actually going quite well for CLG. You're seeing 54 to 38 on the minion kills, which is a really good setup here. Link is farming very successfully. He's looking to do, you know, he's really the new guy on that CLG roster, and he's performing very, very admirably.
Well, if consistent was the word, it looks like he's proven it to us here. Looks like he's going Catalyst Rod of Ages first. If he continues to complete his build, his blue buff may be up as well, so he's going to get that for the first time now. The regular time of 7 minutes. Odd Ones is trailing a little behind since we saw that stolen away. But we'll see if Counter Logic chooses to continue to pressure at as well. We've seen a lot of teams go for the first blue and then kind of leaving, having the advantage of the time.
Well, sure, and right now, actually, again, more damage on the KX in the top lane. And the thing for CLG here, though, is they don't have the timer on the blue buff. The Explorer Ward timed out before Odd One killed it off, so they don't know for sure. However, because they're stronger in the mid lane, stronger in the current top lane, they would win a jungle fight over blue if they knew it was there.
So the blue buff is up. It looks like they kind of wanted to push top lane, but they said, let's get blue first, and we'll see what their movement is since the lane is already quite pushed out. You can hear a lot of pings, and it actually, CLG is saying, I think there are some of them in the forward bush. They may be going for the lane gank here.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the thing is, now Reginald finally has Golem buff, so he's going to be able to start making some moves. He's got a couple of levels on him. He's 6, so that ultimate's going to really come into play. And I want to take a step back and point something out. Reginald is actually using the hybrid armor magic penetration marks. So this is something we've seen just very recently, I think, start to become recognized by pros, but hybrid pen marks might just be the best choice for mages. You don't use a lot of magic pen, but you get about 8, 9 armor pen, and you do use auto attacks quite a bit as a mid laner.
Indeed you do. Even, what is it? Froggen runs AD on his Anivia just to do a little bit more damage as well.
And last hitting is like horribly difficult as well. Yeah, she's great auto attack range for the harass, and as well, like, it's just woefully difficult before blue buff in level 6 that really helps him keep up.
So a first blood and then a slowed down game so far. 9 minutes into this one. It's only about a 600 gold lead. And the advantage now being pushed back in that top lane. Gotta say 50 to 67 in minion score. So Kaox not that far behind, being pushed to his turret the whole time, but they're baiting this one out perfectly here. It's going to be Odd One in there, and he's gonna go right onto them, pushes them back with the ultimate of Jhin. And it looks like they're not really gonna be able to fight this one too strong. It's just way too much coming from CLG here. Everybody forced to use their summoners on Team Solo mid side. Now the teleports come in as well, a little late from CLG Link, but just a back and forth overall. Nobody could really find any ground to fight from Team Solo mid there.
That was a really, really nice battle overall. The teleports coming through, really putting on a great amount of effort. And I believe Hotshot canceled the Elise teleport with his ultimate. I think it was baited out, but we have Unstoppable Force on cooldown. We saw the teleport come out from Dyrus and then didn't actually show up, but we actually did see Link. Yep,
those cooldowns are pretty close to being set together, and they are able to grab.
He got the execute in the base.
Oh.
He got chased out, but got around and found the execute. So that was actually a really nice play by Special.
So the gold lead not really going up too much there. The 10-minute mark has hit. Again, pressure in mid from CLG as Chowster helps to push that through. Link still doing good for himself. 81 to 72 of Reginald. He actually just went. No, he didn't go back. He's going to grab camps. Wait for these guys to get their full builds. The Haunting guys on a lease as well, so a lot of that Magic Pen coming out in the early game for these guys so they can win those trades.
Yeah, Magic Pen Elise is really the build here. I'm expecting Sorcerer's Shoes pretty likely, and then into some kind of a tanky build here. With basically spamming Magic Pen, you do pretty much true damage to any sort of carry. If you do the standard like Sorc Shoes Haunting guys with penetration and just the standard masteries, you pretty much bring anyone with magic resist glyphs down to 0, which is pretty much just a standard build from someone like Doublelift here, who's got, you know, that, I'm going to guess, yeah, that 42 magic resist. So if he gets 2 penetration items, he's going to be right there.
So knowing that, you know, Hotshot was having that troublesome down bottom, Dyrus was doing well. Got to give credit here. CLG is just continuously putting the pressure top. Odd1's forced to continuously come top and help. We haven't seen him in any other lanes, and Kax is almost dead after 3 shots from Doublelift.
That really fast Manamune pickup is just amazing. He doesn't spend a whole heck of a lot, and is getting 42 attack damage off of that item, which is actually quite efficient. And as soon as that upgrades to Muramana, it's going to affect his Q and his basic attack, so Urgot's going to be a big damage threat here.
So let's pay attention to this again. Reginald and both Odd1 coming out of their respective spots to try to help the top lane. Will anything come from this one? Odd1 is still going to go in pursuit of this as Reginald is forced to go back middle, so he gets nothing out of it once again. But the Odd1 waits right on the side here, poised in this.
Well, you know,
like they could dive here.
They might look for Odd1 is up in the mix. He's trying to pull some aggro. They do hit Odd1 here. And Travis is going to pull right back out.
There's the Acid Hunter hitting him down. He is able to get a few more corrosive shots out. And they are just dictating what's going on at this turret. They have no fear right now.
They don't. And the thing is, TSM, they don't have a good mix of damage and durability here yet. You look at Odd1, and he's got Madrid's Razors and a Ruby Crystal, which is just not enough tankiness to survive those 3 members of CLG. So he can't be there and ult and pretend it's going to work.
So they are in a 3v3 here, but like you said, Freak, just the domination, can't do much about it. It's too much of an all-in for Odd1 to try anything, and Reginald is just forced to kind of hang out, get as much as he can by himself, and fend in this mid. He has caught up in CS, which is working out for him now.
Yes.
But he hasn't really been able to back and buy with Link beating him in the lane.
That's okay. I mean, Reginald, honestly, if he doesn't have a rough lane, and he can't really look for kills in this lane either, it's okay to sit on gold for a while in lane if it doesn't make a difference.
Right.
But when he does go back, you know, he's wearing 2,000 gold around his neck right now. That's going to be a really important pickup for him. He'll be able to almost pretty much just one-shot a Leandries if he wants it, which is going to be a really important pickup for him.
So looking at this Urgot build, looks like he's going into a Brutalizer next, and the next chance he gets to back, they're going to re-swap the lanes out after taking that top turret. We haven't seen too many of the 3v1 ganks coming in here. We see Reginald and Dyrus taking down that bottom turret to make their lane swap a little bit harder.
This is really good for them. So 1 turret to 1 is a very, very good choice there by Reginald. He could have actually dove Hotshot if he wanted to. He would have made him at least burn his ultimate to get out. But having that turret 1 for 1 is really, really important. However, he took so much damage.
Yep.
CLG has a numbers advantage here, and this dragon is almost definitely theirs.
That is a great move by Counter Logic Gaming, and it looks like they won't even get a contest from Team Solomid on this one. So it's going to be about 14 minutes into this. Odd1 is going to be saving that for his smite for red buff as he takes it down, and the dragon goes to Counter Logic.
And that's really, really important here. And CLG is going to get their 3rd blue buff of the game. Actually, both have respawned on the map, but Link once again is going to have a heck of a lot of mana to spend right here, which is an important thing for him. Abilities come off. There we go. 70 gold for him. And Link once again able to spam things out. That Rod of Ages, it is completed. He's going to be kind of going for that burst damage build in general. That's kind of why you play Syndra. So we'll see how that pans out for him here. Because again, he's going to have to fight up against this Reginald Intervention Kale ultimate. And if his timing is good, that's going to be a scary place to be.
Yeah, once Team Solomid gets into the fight phase, they have a lot of that champions that you think you're going to kill or have. Hotshot getting caught here, all forced to use his ultimate to get out of that one. Here comes Reginald from the queue. He will flash, but he forces the flash as well. Hotshot is slowed, and he's going to go for a teleport without having anything to pop him up. Almost from Odd1.
He dies to the ignite!
Mana. Wow. Great job.
Oh, and that's just amazing right there. The flash initiation, Odd1 tried to... He like hoped that the passive would tick off in time, but either way, he got the damage he needed. That was a very, very good play.
So they will be able to pick up an evening or a kill that evens everything out there besides the gold. 1,000 in favor of CLG after the dragon. 15 minutes in here, in a very cautious game being played by both teams. It's like you can just see how close he almost lived on that with the ignite. Link now taking some damage as he gets caught out from a ward. The teleport coming in, and it actually has been stopped as it was not coming in from Dyrus.
Yeah, Dyrus wanted to come in there and look for a kill, but they realized that everyone from CLG was running away. The channel would be too long, so he's like, you know what, I'll refund half the cooldown, and I'll just go back to this top lane here. Now, this is an interesting setup because Reginald's been running around the map very successfully, and I think, you know, the teleport from Link hasn't done a ton right now in this game. I don't think it hasn't been turned into a kill just yet. And so basically now we've got Dyrus and Hotshot up in the top lane. They both got teleport, but again, Dyrus is still sort of winning this matchup. Now, and the thing is, both players can stop teleport from the other, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens from this top lane. Both can teleport, but both can stop each other. Meanwhile, I think Reginald will be able to show up to all the team fights at the bottom lane without much difficulty.
So Reginald going for that AP build, but also just the attack speed build. How is this going to synergize with him in mid, since he is our matchup versus Link?
Well, it's kind of a different sort of champion here. Link is, you know, again, we're going to wait for a second item to be sure, but I'm going to guess it's a very damage-heavy build from Link, and specifically burst damage heavy. For Reginald, it's going to be sort of damage over time. It's a little bit supporty because he has a heal and that ultimate, but he's going to look for longer duration fights because that Leandry is going to tick over time, and he's going to really enjoy, you know, longer engagements, and so we'll see if they get them.
Well, that could be the fight between our two lanes of the day. Or lane, I should say. 1-1 still. Like we said, a very cautious game between both teams. The lanes have finally swapped back to normal so far. Dyrus back in the top lane versus Hotshot GG. Hotshot has gotten himself more magic resistance, a chalice to sustain in lane on top of a Doran shield that he actually bought later after his first buy. And we can just see Dyrus trying to get those damage trades in, and they're always in his favor, getting those Qs out whenever possible, and just taking them almost down to half health.
Yeah, and Dyrus is okay to kind of sustain that a little bit. He's just doing a very good job of sort of surviving you know, any kind of damage the Hotshot throws at him. He's got the magic pen there, the Haunting guys are there, the Sork shoes are there. Looks like the Warmogs is next up for him, so that's that Elise build. It's magic pen into tankiness, and it will allow him, honestly, to pretty easily jump anyone he wants and deal good damage there.
And a lot of the team actually synergizing cooldown within their builds. Locket of the Iron, Solari coming out for the odd one here, also saying that they want to start engaging in fights soon.
Yeah, Locket is really that big item that a lot of Xin Zhaos are loving here. Cooldown reduction is a very, very good stat on him. The Q, when he gets all 3 hits, reducing all his cooldowns by 3 seconds.
Yep.
So reducing them by 15% with the Locket, and then dropping 3 off of that afterwards. A very, very good build for him, and still gives him good tank stats, pretty close to what he would from getting other tank items.
It looks like Dyrus going for the tanky build as well. The first Giants belt we see coming out here. Chowster grabbing one for himself. We'll have to see where they decide to go with those. Obviously, the Warmogs to come out. Need to have somebody on that team that buys the Warmogs.
Of course. They do need tanks, of course. Like that's definitely a requirement for both of these lineups here. Right now, Xin Zhao's doing a good job of that. Dyrus will get there eventually. He's halfway through his build. Chowster taking a bit of punishment there. Is going to ward hop to get away, but that still costs him 75 gold.
So even with the build we have here, finally getting finished out on the Nashor's Tooth, which gives him a little bit more ability power from that Stinger, that's starting to hurt. We just saw Reginald take a huge jump in damage.
Yeah, this is a very, very good build for him overall. He's sitting there at 129 AP. He's got a little bit of Magic Pen. I'm curious to see if he goes Berserker's Greaves or Sorcerer's Shoes here. That'll kind of change his playstyle a little bit. But CLG already looking aggressive again.
Pushing down on this mid lane. Very good pushback here. A dive in coming from the odd one, but he gets stunned up. Isn't able to pop anybody up for himself. And now they're forced on the run. Both tops with their teleport on. You can see him kind of leaving and entering back into the lane as they waver whether or not to come into this fight. It looks like this mid turret will drop, though, within the next wave.
Well, they're going to look for it, certainly. It's a 4-on-4. Let's see what they can do. They're putting a lot of pressure onto it.
Looks like Doublelift was the only one there. Chowster went over to Wolves, so they didn't have a little bit more shield that they needed to get the last few shots on the turret. Good sieging here coming in from CLG, but also a good stop by Team Solo Mid. Now that all 5 are coming in, we do have Hotshot back in the base. Elise is coming in from the side, so if we get a repel initiate here, no, she's just going to throw out a Spiderling, and they are going to back off the fight.
And they've got teleport from Hotshot anyway, but the thing is, they want him more for the initiation role, so they're actually going to leave him in the lane here. Now, CLG's just pinged Dragon. It has respawned this second, and so this is going to be interesting. They've got good ward coverage, but they're going to contest Dragon here.
This is a really good fight for them. You can just see Chowster at Hotshot trying to get around the backside. They want to fly in from the backside of the fight, being seen from nowhere. That shield that you're not expecting, that Malphite ult that you're never expecting is completely the fight changer. Reginald taking a lot of damage. They're inside the den, and they've split the fight quite hard here. Dyrus is, however, going to stand on the front. These guys are really tanky for what was just happening in lane, and TSM's fight team looks pretty scary.
Wow, CLG was completely afraid to initiate that. They had the ward coverage. They saw TSM come in, and they said, you know what? We can't take you. They ran right back up, took the golem, and did a little bit of poke with Urgot, but they said, you know what? We're not going to take this fight. We'll back right on out. And that is actually one thing that CLG does quite well. They are very reserved in terms of dragons, where they say, you know what? This doesn't look like a good fight. They will easily just give up dragons because they do not want to throw away a fight out of nowhere.
Right. Hotshots also being down in that time, that window for them to play with, actually made a huge difference there. If the Hotshot ult could have been up, I think they may have tried to go for it a little bit stronger. This turret going to be going down in mid. 20 minutes in now, we see that second one going down for TSM. It is 3-2 in turrets. We'll have to see if they can continue this down the mid lane.
And I just like how amazingly close this gold score is. We've seen Dragon split 1-for-1, Kill split 1-for-1, though CLG got an extra 150 gold for it being first blood themselves. And turrets are just 3-2 here. It's a very, very narrow margin of, very narrow lead here for Counterlogic Gaming. And on top of that, those almost become a wash. It's basically a 900 gold difference with the extra turret and that first blood gold. And you're basically seeing a 900 gold difference between these two teams. So as far as minion kills are concerned, they've split it evenly across the team.
So I like the team coming in here, but I have to question Odd One on Shin. Where does Zen come into the play for this team? Since everybody else is kind of attacked from the outside and he is the dive-in. Yes, Lulu's going to be with him, but...
Well, every team needs an initiator. You simply must have one because otherwise it becomes woefully difficult to win games.
Very true.
Especially against top teams who know how to defend. And that's just very, very important. You need someone who can dive in there, be tanky, which is why he's going Locket into Warmugs. He needs to be a tank to do that successfully. And he needs to dive in there. And the thing is, Oddone can actually go in with Dyrus. They can actually pick out and assassinate something. So TSM's got two kind of options here. They can play on the outside. Oddone can play disengage. Dyrus can stay in ranged form and toss out cocoons and disengage as well. Or they can dive the heck in there and start fights.
All right, let's see what they decide to do. The Dazzle goes out. Doublelift got, wow, a lot of damage there from True Shot Barrage on the outside. Link just trying to turn some damage back as they run out of this fight. And they back off once again. Very cautious play from both teams. A lot of damage coming put onto Doublelift throughout that little fight there, but they did not choose to go on it.
Now, but I'm impressed, though, by CLG's ability to kind of group up and find the turret out of nowhere and back out very successfully. Chowster burned his ult to disengage Elise in that one. Was a little bit afraid of getting jumped on, and that's fine. It's a fairly short cooldown. It's already 1/3 of the way back up, and that's really what CLG's very, very good at. They are honestly very good at low-kill games. It's their play style that honestly was the one that they really used in Season 2. It was teleport heavy, which, hey, we've seen here, and it really gave them a lot of options. Now, the funny thing is, theoretically, Tarek could be buying the promote item. Like, promote Summoner Spell is gone here, but he really could be grabbing that if they really wanted to be true Season 2 ending CLG. I don't think that's super likely necessarily. I haven't seen that in competitive play just yet, but they're certainly good at this low-kill game economy.
And Odd One putting a ton of pressure onto Hotshot just so Chaos can start hitting the turret. They go ahead and throw on the Locket of the Iron Solari when the fight starts. They make it out of that one easy. So as they gain ground here on the map, they're still pushing Counterlogic back little by little, but Counterlogic definitely has that mid lane to themselves. Almost getting a teleport in from the top lane, so Link's teleport is actually going to be wasted as he thought they were pushing top there. If that was seen, again, TSM may be able to use that window for a fight.
Yeah, it is a short cooldown window there. He canceled it, so it's only a 2.5 minute cooldown there, but certainly it's something to be aware of here. Now you've seen Link actually go for a Zhonya's Hourglass. He's going kind of utility based. He's not going for that Death Cap, not a Deathfire Grasp, anything like that. Not even a pen stacking build. It's Rod of Ages into Zhonya's Hourglass. So he knows that he is probably the least safe champion on this team. Having no innate escapes, being in general a little bit squishy, but having a Zhonya's and Aroa, they can't really dive Link anytime in this fight, so they can't really go for him first. TSM's a little bit assassin heavy, just a little bit. They're kind of going to all in on one champion, and they've got to pick, like, Urgot? No one wants to go in on Urgot. No one wants to go in on Locket of Iron Solari, half of Warmog's Lee Sin.
Right.
No one wants to go on half of Warmog's Malphite. No one wants to go in on Tarek first. So CLG have really built themselves a team where TSM doesn't really want to kill any of them first.
Well, at this point with the Locket of the Iron Solari, your team's getting a full 1,000 HP extra to start that fight off. So it's going to be crazy for both of these teams that they have to remember that damage is not going to be there right off the bat. So whoever uses that in good fashion is going to be very well off, and that comes with a hotshot ultimate as well as Link's crowd control. It's going to be really hard for anybody to stop that. Like you said, the Odd One and Dyrus can go in, but Reginald, Chaos, and Xpecial are kind of still in the back line on that.
Yeah, and that's going to be really where the damage comes from. So, like I said, the assassination attempt, I don't think is really available here for TSM. I don't think they can really all-in something. But the
that extended fight.
Exactly, that extended fight is what they want here. And Chaos, despite being 0-0-0, and he's a little bit down in minion kills overall, he's still got Bloodthirster. He's got most of the... he's actually got enough, just barely enough right now for Last Whisper. He's going back for that right now. And so he's going to have decent damage output here. And again, that Leandry's build... with actually Magic Pen here, has gone Sword Shoes on top of that one. So he's got very good damage output against health stacking teams here. That's Reginald on Kale. So there's honestly some pretty good tools here. And actually, as I go through the lineup, they've got Odd One and Dyrus as well who do % health damage. So this Warmog's team that's really tanky, they won't kill him right away, but they all scale against that. So TSM's going to scale very well throughout the endgame.
They are going to scale, but it's been made hard by counter logic so far. It looks like Dyrus the only one to win his lane, about 70 CS up. But we look at the other lanes. We look at Reginald versus Link, our matchup of the day. 184 to 217 as the Odd One tries to put himself into the middle of the fight. They found Doublelift. He's in the den. Chouster will help him, and they get dove on. Dyrus is in there. Looks like Doublelift will eventually go down here as they focus him down. Reginald is right there to take it out, and it is going to be back and forth. Hotshot picks himself up a kill, but Afromu falls as well, and TSM is coming out on top of this one. They're still stuck in the pit, but that's not a good spot. Xpecial forced to flash. CLG tries to turn this one on TSM's head now, but Odd One doing what he can to stay alive for the last few melee hits. It's going to be up to Dyrus to get himself out alive as they just kept going through the I think I can mentality and stayed in a bit too long.
Wow, beautiful play by CLG. Right off the bat, they went for Chaos, and they found him. They absolutely found him. He went down first in that fight. And the rest of that TSM lineup, they put out some good damage, but they found Reginald second. They went down the line, found the squishiest target, killed him, found Reginald, killed him. He used intervention, didn't matter, and they just went down the line. They found Odd One, then they found Dyrus. Some good damage output there, but as you saw, Link refused to die. They got Doublelift. Yeah, he went aggro and forced that kill. They said everyone else on our team can still deal damage. Link kept himself alive, had some very good spell casts there. Definitely looks like he's been practicing Cinder because he was landing some great stuns in that fight.
And we saw how much they focused Doublelift in the beginning of that fight through the entire den to the back of the den, and then he almost was able to walk out going down. All the defense that he has, all that the shatter defense from Tarek as well, plus his shield, and he's 242 CS over 185. So that means he's level 14 to level 13, still tankier in that aspect. They went for an 80 carry they almost couldn't kill, which is scary.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of the difficulty here, is that you've got this guy who's going to start going just tankier and tankier over time. Just look at Doublelift's build here. Certainly started out damage focused with Muramana into Black Cleaver, but he's got Hex Drinker now, which is kind of a mix, and now he's starting on that Warmog's armor most likely with the Giant's Belt there. So pretty soon it's going to be a difficult to kill champion.
Even going for the cooldown boots to get those attacks off. Ever so more. We have, looks like a Sunfire Cake going for Hotshot. He wants to go into split push mode faster than he goes into tank mode on this one. Although Chouster is actually quite big right there, so they're going to leave that first tank position up to him. And we'll see if Hotshot goes back to his old split push beat GG self.
And I'm actually excited by Chouster's build a little bit because he's going for a Randuin's Omen, which is cool because it gives them even more sort of initiation power. You can jump in there, pop that for the movement speed slow, and that's going to help them really pin people down and really help CLG start fights. And as we just saw, CLG are able to win fights on their own merit. They're able to go in there and just win a fight, go, what, 4 for 2, I believe, in the battle, and that's just a good place to be.
A lot of wards being placed around Baron Freak. It's about 29 minutes in the game as I hover around and look for an Oracle. So we do not have one yet, so those objectives likely not to be pressured until we see that. We've made mention of it when we were in Brazil. A lot of teams, when you're ahead, you don't need to make that chance for Baron. It's a possible loss for you in the situation. So we're going to see these guys just kind of battle it out back and forth until somebody gets caught out.
And I just like what Chouster's been doing there. He pops the shield and says, yeah, I can get 2 attacks off in the turret before I back on out. And just, it's like 50 free damage, but why not? And there we go, CLG on the pressure once more. No minions left, though. It's going to be a difficult fight.
Hotshot still pushing that bottom lane. He has teleport to come in. They go on Afromu. He's taking quite a bit of damage. But They focus down onto the support. He's just going to sustain back up. CLG doing a very good play of mind games right here. They jump onto Chowster, but they go for double lift on the execute there with Elise. Dyrus is forced to back out at half health now. Reginald trying to go from the side, but Hotshot sees him in the fog of war. They may be able to take him down as the intervention goes on. Swap back into the fight. Great job by double lift, and they are going to clean this one up. Chowster over the wall. Now the focus onto KX as he puts off the cleanse. They are forced back now, and Aframu lives with a sliver of health.
And that is a difficult thing right there. You put all your damage onto the support, and he didn't go down, which means all the damage dealers here, the guys who need to actually be in range to fight, they're perfectly fine, and the push is on. This is a very good place for CLG. They've got a full 5-on-4.
Dyrus going aggressive. The ult from Zen. Odd one trying to keep himself in there, and Tanky, a great ult from Xpecial, but it's not going to be enough. They just have too much consistent damage, and the lengthy fights are starting to go in favor of Counter Logic.
And that is amazing right there. Link actually saved his ultimate when they killed Reginald back in the day, which means he used it there just now on the Odd one. And even though it's a tanky Xin Zhao who's got that locket, he's starting to go for the Warmugs. He was able to burst through that very, very well. Cinder's really starting to turn into a huge damage threat, and that's really scary here because he started to build utility, started a bit tanky, but he's now up to about 300 ability power, 1,600 gold in the bank. That's enough for a death cap right now if he wants it. We'll see when that gets grabbed.
The Oracles was picked up right now by Aframu. A few more wards as well. Those sight stones, a must-have for the supports on your team. And they are going to start getting a little bit more vision on the map. We can see right now all the wards going out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 wards coming out in a vision ward forwardly placed by the blue buff. So they want to keep pressuring that. They do not want to give Team Solo Mid any advantages. We'll have to see if Team Solo Mid can keep on their toes and get their vision wards out here too. They only have a few, and they're all placed defensively now.
Okay, so let's take stock of the situation. You can see a CLG now. They've just finished the death cap there on Syndra. CLG are the winning team right now. They're definitely ahead. But let's see what they're doing. Hotshot, he's just putting together a bunch of just durability and utility items. He's got some magic resist, he's got some health, he's got some armor, he's got some cooldown reduction. It's just an amalgamation of stats right here. And, you know, he's performing very well as the tank for that team. You look down at Chowster. He's really tanky as well. At some point, he's going to get, I would guess, the Randuin's Omen completed, and he's going to become a big initiator threat as well, and he's really tanky on top of that. We just talked about Link. He's got the damage, but he's also very, very hard to kill. Now Doublelift, he's sat there just in the Giant's Belt. Huge damage threat. He's probably the biggest damage dealer on that team, possibly even in the game, and he's got a little bit of tank to back him up. And then finally Aframu there on support. No gold pretend items. He just went into the Ruby Sightstone onto Aegis of the Legion, a likely Runic Bulwark on the back of that one, and he's just tanky enough, but he's just kind of the utility member here.
Well, Freak, they are up in the creep score lead. 276 to 216 is the mid comparison to 3-0 and 2. Link having a very good game here and keeping consistent, as we said before. Dyrus trying to put out some damage there again onto the odd one. Chowster really just doing free damage here, initiating on whoever and dodging out most of the damage. They've wasted True Shot Barrage just from Elise and Q and Safeguard.
And CLG was really playing in the fog of war there. There's not really much vision for TSM to see them, but they're going to go in. There's Chowster in the front.
Chowster going, and we can hear the guys yelling from the back. Doublelift is just screaming it out. Who is going to be taking the most damage? The focus is going on to somebody right now. It looks like the odd one's still taking it. The odd one trying to go into Doublelift here. Doublelift is very low. Dyrus trying to execute. They finally are able to take him out, but they have no abilities left in this fight, and you can see them trying to flash, get chased away. Great job there by KX, getting a kill for himself, flashing for Chowster, though. 2 for 1 in that exchange.
And they just forced him down, and that's the thing, that the guys who are actually in range to fight are big, big tanks. You saw the odd one finally eventually go down, but they're not able to catch up to Chaos. Reginald positioned himself well, burned his flash, used his ultimate, but that was enough for him. It's almost easier, though they're a bit tanky here on CLG, it's easier for TSM to find those carries and kill them, where it's very, very difficult for them to actually get to Chaos, and honestly even to get to Reginald.
And that fight was really happened, I believe, without Hotshot, so they have to be careful on the next engagement there. They had a good amount of champions to push that next tower, but the just wave was not there. Syndra too good at that siege stop. Link returns to his jungle to start clearing up, and it looks like KX was actually looking for Dragon, but it is not up right now. 48,000 to 42,000. That 6,000 gold lead in favor of Counter Logic, and they've held the definitive lead throughout this entire match so far.
They have. They had first blood right away. They never really dropped the gold lead. And you're actually seeing that gold number really start to grow. 7,000 is a pretty good gold lead, honestly. Even though they're only up 3 kills, only up 2 turrets, they've grown it in other ways. And you just look at the minion kills, honestly. It's Malphite only 30 behind You know, Hotshot only 30 behind Dyrus right there. The jungle pretty close together, but you're seeing an almost 90 minion kill lead between Link and Reginald, which is massive. And Doublelift compared to Chaos, again, 60 minion kills up. Those are very, very large numbers. And so, yeah, we're seeing Syndra just be scarier than Kale.
And we see Aphromoo clearing out wards around the Baron Den. You see Reginald and Link on your screen. And now the supports, Xpecial and Aphromoo. These guys trying to do what they can to bolster their teams within these fights. Chaos using True Shot Barrage to check out and see if they are doing that Baron. We've seen that he has picked up the Static Shiv. Chaos says that sometimes, you know, a play style effect of how early a champion wants that, but it's also great for adding the split push ability to a kit of a champion that doesn't have it.
Yeah, but what I really like about CLG here, though, is that they just have the map control on lockdown.
Oh, for sure.
Right? You just saw Ezra having to use True Shot Barrage, right? A very important spell cooldown. He can get it back, sure, but it's a very important spell just to reveal Fog of War and see, wait, are they doing Baron? We don't know. You see an Oracle's already on Aphromu's Taric, and CLG, yeah, they lost that last fight, but they are strangling the map right now. Hotshot GG, he's got teleport available. He's waiting at that turret for the minions to come up, but they can start the 5-on-5. He can teleport over there, and CLG, they're playing in the darkness.
Looks like a little bit of initiation onto Chouster there. He did take some damage. The teleport coming in from Hotshot from the backside, and they get out just in time. That would have been a great unstoppable force from the Fog of War, but now that they see them here, it's all up to Dyrus to kind of play the mind games in the bottom lane. Freaky's got a completely fully pushed wave, so they need to grab this mid turret because they definitely just lost one for that teleport and possibly a Baron fight.
That turret is there. They are running towards Baron, and they've got complete, again, vision control. If you look at solo mid's vision, they do not have much. They had used True Shot Barrage to spot it, but they don't see much else. CLG's going to force the teleport. Let's see what they do off of this. TSM's going to have to stop them.
I don't like this for CLG Freak. They've almost forced themselves into this Baron because of losing that turret. They want something to come off this, so now they're in the anti-position. There's the unstoppable force, at least repelling out, and they're going to dive way too far in, but the odd one's there to help. The Crescent Sweep to clear the team back. Will they be able to do enough damage? A beautiful intervention as Reginald just gets in range. Hotshot trying to peel them out. It looks like Chaos picks himself a kill up on the right side if he'll be able to, but no, Hotshot flashes out of the fight, and a double kill for Doublelift.
That was beautiful by him. He actually sat there by the wall the entire fight, so that when all the jumps were down, he flashed the wall, got in Fog of War, and played artillery.
Oh, Xpecial getting caught out by the Dazzle and a complete obliteration coming from Counter Logic there.
And there we go. This is their time to shine. They've got 20 seconds until the first respawn. They're in a 5-on-1. Aphromoo, no mana, but he'll get some back from his passive. He'll be able to heal. They've got that armor aura now as well. They could look for the Nexus. They could also turn back for Baron, and I'm expecting Baron.
This is a very strong play right here. I like the fact that Counter Logic jumped off the Baron and just went for the counter engage.
That was absolutely correct play. And again, they pulled them in, they got guys into the right position, and they just, it was absolutely perfect play, right? They got Chouster to initiate. He's the tanky one. He wants to take that damage up front. You saw Xin and Elise, Dyrus and the odd one. They in fact did. They jumped across the map and went for Doublelift. They put some good damage onto him, but he tanked it out. The flash over the wall, again, that was mandatory. He needed that to survive that battle. And then suddenly, oh, you've burned all your cooldowns, but you're still in the middle of our team. They picked up those 2 kills.
Yeah, it even made it hard for Reginald. He had to take a few more steps into the fight just to put that intervention down onto them in the fight. He had to kind of push himself out. So, TSM now.
Yeah, TSM are looking for Baron, and now CLG has to stop them. They were the stronger team last fight, but Baron is getting so low right now.
They're doing a lot of damage to it right now. Chouster's just on the outside. Nobody's even really going to stop him to come in here. The Dazzle goes down. Baron will be stopped as it regains health, and they look for the reinitiation on the fight. Unstoppable Force hits 4. Reginald makes it out, but he flashes into the fight to throw down intervention on himself way too early into the fight, but they may have enough damage here with the amount of people just piled on. No, it's going to be CLG. They're just turning this around in an obliteration fight in front of the Baron as all 5 make it out clean and head for the base.
And there was a huge burst damage, and I gotta hand that one to Syndra. A great multi-target stun, an amazing ultimate to just help burst down the initial targets, and that's going to be the surrender vote. CLG 1-0 in the LCS, the very first victory of the day. First victory of the season, and there they are on your screen.
Mind games from the beginning. They were poking back and forth. They stole away the blue with Syndra that completely shut down the lane swap. Weren't able to do anything about it, and they didn't even have to keep tabs on the blue. That's what I said. Are they gonna? You're like, oh, they don't have time. They didn't. They didn't even care about it, right? They didn't even go after it again. So they just played out of their minds in the first 3 minutes. It looks like TSM got really flustered about that.
That was a very good level 1 strategy. CLG is a team that we know as a team that's just so good at creating things in those first 4 minutes. And that first 4 minutes was awesome.
Yeah.
They grabbed Syndra, stole the blue away. They had the pink ward in that brush just to see if it was counter warded, and then they had a vision ward down below that. They used the sight ward just to make sure they could steal it away. It was a great opening, got them first blood. Great play.
Let's take a replay of that last ace in front of the Baron, and gotta make note of how quickly Reginald throws himself in to dodge the intervention.
So watch for TSM's initiation because it gets them in really bad shape. So there's Hotshot going in. A lot of early damage brings them low, but look, Reginald's suddenly in melee range. They're trying to get double, but look at the damage output on him. He gets completely eviscerated right there, even despite his ultimate. And at that point, there's just too much damage available on CLG's lineup. They can all just put out so much pressure. Look at Double's health bar. He's down to about 1/6. So certainly TSM could get the assassination started. They got CLG low, but they didn't have quite enough damage. And I think a lot of that was gold lead, because you saw him finally at that point completed Warmogs. If without completed Warmogs, that would have been a double, sure. But they built a very good gold lead throughout that game, winning small fight after small fight, and then he was too big to handle.
All right, well, coming up, our next match features 2 powerhouse teams. It's Team Dignitas versus Curse. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
CLG, man. CLG.